For our side dish tonight, we're going to make some roasted asparagus, probably my favorite vegetable side dish. And we actually are blessed with this wonderful sort of spring-like thick asparagus. This is usually when they're kind of in peak season as opposed to those thin little pencil asparagus. And we're going to roast them. So before we roast them, we want to kind of trim them up. And one thing I will say is a lot of times you'll see people on TV kind of break off the edge. But with asparagus this thick, you'll end up losing quite a bit of your asparagus. And we don't want to do that. So we are going to first just trim off the very, very bottom, which is kind of dry and woody. And then we're going to take our asparagus and just kind of put it on our cutting board. And then we're just going to take a vegetable peeler and just peel that woody exterior. It will make a beautiful presentation, and it'll get rid of some of that woody part of the stem, and they will roast beautifully. I'm gonna go ahead and trim up all of the ends of my asparagus, and then we'll move on from there. So my asparagus is all peeled and trimmed. I have it on a rimmed baking sheet, and now I'm going to add some olive oil, pretty good drizzle. I'm going to add a good healthy pinch of salt, give it some flavor. I'm going to give it a sprinkle of garlic powder and some freshly cracked black pepper. And then with nice clean hands, I'm going to kind of roll them all around, make sure they get nice and well coated with all the oil and the salt and the garlic powder. And then I'm going to spread them back out into one layer. It's very important when you're roasting vegetables that we make sure that they are in one layer so that steam doesn't collect on the underside of one of the upper layers and cause them to get kind of mushy. So we're going to put these into a very warm oven, usually 400, 450 degrees, until they are what we call crisp tender, meaning that I can kind of give the asparagus a little shake like this, and it has a little give, but it's not totally floppy. One other trick I like to tell people about asparagus is when you're storing it and you're bringing it home from the grocery store, asparagus, we treat it kind of like a flower. We put it in a glass of water so that it can drink it in, snip off the little bottom, and stand it up, and it will last much, much longer than if you leave it laid flat in your crisper. So we'll put it in the oven until for about 15 to 20 minutes, depends on the thickness of your asparagus. So my asparagus has come out of the oven. It is beautiful and bright green. And when I pick up a piece, now you be careful when you do this, it's got a little bit of a give. It's not super soft and floppy or mushy. It's still got a nice crisp edge to it. I always like to do asparagus kind of the last thing, simply because as this sits, it will continue to cook, and it can tend to overcook if you leave it for too long. But we're going to put this right on our serving platter, and we're going to take it to the table.